Meat from these banned giant rats cost more than Wagyu beef. They are insanely popular all over Southeast Asia and southern China.
And do they taste good? Is this worth the price?
Những con giá như cao như thế chắc là phải ngon chứ. Để bán được giá cao chứ còn không ngon thì ai mua.
So today we're visiting one of Vietnam's largest bamboo rat farms. My goal here is to find out what it takes to raise these creatures and understand why they cost so much. Why did China ban these things?
表决通过了全国人大常委会关于全面禁止非法野生动物交易。
And why, despite being illegal in most cases, are they still so damn popular?
Dân ta bắt trên đồi thì đấy là chắc là chưa có giấy tờ gì cả, đấy là ta bán thôi. Thì nó là rừng ta đào được mà, nó là tự nhiên.
And at the end of this video, I'll head to a restaurant in Hanoi to see what all this fuss is about and determine if this rat meat is really worth paying more than Wagyu or lobster.
For this same price, we could be eating lobster, king crab, Wagyu beef, anything we want. But instead, we're eating rat that's flavored like dog meat.
Yep.
There you go. That's Vietnam.
We're starting out in Yên Bai province in the north of Vietnam. And here I've arranged to meet up with a young couple who have made their lives work to raise these giant bamboo rats. But as it turns out, that's not the only strange thing they're farming.
I had no idea. Kai here has a little bit of a surprise. Not only does he farm giant rats, he also farms porcupines. Kind of weird. I guess they're rodents as well. At least I think so. So maybe it makes some sense. Let's check him out.
Dozens of them growing out in large ceramic pens. The room is a cacophony of sniffing, scratching, and the occasional indignant squeak.
How long have you been farming porcupines for?
Nuôi thì lâu lắm rồi, mười mấy năm rồi.
Baby porcupines huddle behind their mothers, managing to look both cute and slightly terrifying.
Nó nuôi thì mình cứ biết về tập tính của nó, nuôi con nào cũng dễ mà.
As fascinating as they may be, we're here for the main event, and that is bamboo rats. And so we quickly move to one of the other barns on the property, and I finally get my hands on one of these creatures that I've been hearing so much about.
So in this giant room behind me, there must be at least 200-300 bamboo rats. They are each separated into these large concrete dividers. Most of them, if they're breeding pairs, have 2. If they're smaller juveniles kind of growing out, there's maybe as many as 6 or 7.
And let me tell you, they're not what you'd expect. Picture a hamster that's been on a 3 to 4 month bulking cycle, and you're kind of in the ballpark. These furry little tanks
Are cute as hell.
and it's feeding time. So Hai's asked me to help with feeding these giant oversized rodents.
So we're heading into the jungle. We're gonna cut down some bamboo. We're gonna start feeding this giant herd. What do you call a group of bamboo rats? Somebody tell me. All right, so Kai has handed me this machete of sorts. Apparently these bamboo rats eat primarily bamboo, obviously as the name suggests, and sugarcane, which I imagine is in the bamboo family. The size doesn't matter, they're gonna eat whatever we want, so we're gonna cut down this relatively large piece of bamboo. We have a giant piece here. I think it's gonna land directly on Kai behind camera. We're gonna decapitate our host as we go. So this is really the first time I've cut such a large piece of bamboo. These things are huge, like easily as thick as, I don't know, a leg maybe. Oh, I hear some cracks. Here we go. I think it's finally coming down. Oh.
Chopping down bamboo is not as easy as it looks.
Let's haul this bad boy back to the house, chop it up and see how we feed it to the animals.
You know, it's pretty wild just how giant this single piece of bamboo is. I imagine this must last forever just to feed a bunch of rats, this one piece of bamboo. But I guess we'll find out. Back at the farm, Hai transforms into a bamboo cutting ninja.
So right now, we're just sectioning this off. We just took down that entire giant length of bamboo into 6-odd-inch pieces in absolutely no time.
Wielding a circular saw and a machete with the precision of a sushi chef on speed. No hesitation, no mistakes.
Simple little, maybe more bite-sized chunks for these rats. Pretty crazy how quickly one man with a machete can take down a giant, maybe 30-meter long piece of bamboo and turn it into food.
Feeding these guys is a spectacle. We walk along, tossing bamboo into their containers.
So this is a pretty simple process. It seems to just be 1 or 2 pieces per bamboo rat.
And the response is immediate and deafening. If you've ever wondered what a few hundred beavers in an echo chamber might sound like, well, now I know. Some of these rats recline on their backs, munching away like furry, buck-toothed otters. Others hunch over their prize like tiny white golems, while some fight for specific pieces of bamboo that apparently taste better than the others we tossed in them.
If it wasn't for the giant ugly teeth at the front, I think that these might be a really cool household pet.
It is a sight that is equal parts endearing and kinda surreal.
How do things start out? Where is a breeding pair? Whoa, oh my God. Wow, so how old are these at this age?
Con này nó 4 tuổi rồi.
Wow, so these guys are already 4 years old. I'd say this is a good like 5 or 6 kilos. It's surprisingly heavy. They're sort of like maybe a small beaver, small dog, incredible creatures. Okay, let's move on. All right, guys, in here we have a mother and babies. These are just 20 days old only. Wow, guys, that is the cutest little thing you've ever seen in your life. Again, these things remind me so much of hamsters. I think there's some sort of like mini cross between a hamster and a beaver, is how I describe them. But when they're at this age, man, this is possibly one of the cutest creatures I've ever seen. All right, guys, in here we have about 8 adolescent-ish bamboo rats. How old are these? Con này bao nhiêu tuổi?
Hơn 3 tháng rồi ạ.
3 tháng, like a little bit more than 3 months old. Again, this is like a large hamster size already. Wow. All right, guys, as you can sort of see, sort of far more movement at this stage. And again, this is maybe that sort of large hamster-like stage already at 3 months of age. Still in a relatively cute form, but nowhere near large enough for eating. Whoa, guys, that thing is absolutely huge. How heavy is this? Con này bao nhiêu ký?
Con này hơn 5 kg ạ.
5 kg, so it's more than 5 kilos. Và bao nhiêu tuổi?
Con này hơn 1 tuổi.
Wow, so it's already like this big within a year. So 5 kilos in 1 year. I mean, that's a pretty incredible creature, pretty fast growing, eating just nothing but bamboo and sugarcane. I mean, again, at this stage, sort of like a cross between a hamster and a beaver if they had a weird love child. Wow. All right, guys, check this out. So this is 2 white albino bamboo rats. Do they sell for any more at this price? What's the point of growing them as albinos?
Đắt hơn à?
Đắt
Nó
hơn.
là bạch tạng. Nuôi chơi cho đẹp, nó khác màu ấy.
I don't get the vibe that this is a overly cruel environment at all. Everything seems very clean. There's almost no smell in here at all. It's nowhere near as crowded as I've seen most chicken farms. In general, it seems like a relatively humane environment to raise animals, at least as humane as you're going to get with factory farming. Kai, this is amazing, man. How many of these bamboo rats do you have?
Tầm trồng 400 con này.
400 rats. Wow. How long have you done this for?
4 năm mới đây thôi. Và 1-2 năm nay mình phát hiện nhiều.
These adorable little eating machines are worth their weight in gold, or at least something close to it. In Hanoi's high-end restaurants, a kilo of bamboo rat meat can fetch upwards of $75. That's more than Wagyu beef, it's more than lobster, and for rat meat. Let that sink in for a moment. The economics of bamboo rats is a wild ride. In Vietnam, a young breeding pair can set you back about $150. By the time they reach the plate in Hanoi, the prices have completely skyrocketed.
Is business good right now? Is there a lot of demand for these rats?
Có, đúng rồi. Giờ thì rất nhiều người đang muốn nuôi con này làm kinh tế.
Bán ở Việt Nam hay là ở nước ngoài?
Mình hiện tại thì mình chỉ bán ở trong nước á. Còn một số anh em buôn thì người ta cũng chuyển đi nước ngoài.
It's a delicacy for sure, but it's also a semi-illicit one. Farming these overgrown rodents is permitted, but hunting their wild cousins is illegal. And while this is the law, I can tell you that it is very rarely enforced on the ground.
Do people still catch the wild rats around here, or is it mainly the farmed ones?
Mình mua 1-2 con về mình nuôi, sau tự nó sinh sản ra thôi. Con rúi là động vật thông thường. Khi mình đã về và chăn nuôi thì mình đã khai báo kiểm lâm, có giấy phép chăn nuôi.
I've been to countless remote markets in Vietnam, and I can tell you that wild-caught bamboo rat is about as common as noodle soup. It's technically illegal for sure. But when there's this much money on the table, well, let's just say that people get creative with their interpretations of the law, and it seems to be enforced with the authority of a suggestion rather than a mandate.
Dân người ta bắt trên đồi thì đấy là chắc là chưa có giấy tờ gì cả, đấy là ta bán thôi. Vì nó ở rừng ta đào được mà, nó là tự nhiên. Còn mình nuôi là nó hợp pháp, là nó có giấy tờ nguồn gốc, mình sinh sản ra. từ chuồng trại ra.
And the pandemic threw another wrench into the works of this already complex industry.
表决通过了全国人大常委会关于全面禁止非法野生动物交易、革除滥食野生动物陋习。
In China, where bamboo rat farming was a big business, millions of creatures were culled in a panicked attempt to prevent zoonotic disease.
有人携带新型冠状病毒的野生动物，禁止出售、利用、运输，就是疫情防控期间呢。
The result, skyrocketing prices and a boom for Vietnamese farmers willing to navigate the murky waters of this rodent husbandry. But why? Why are people willing to shell out top dollar for what is essentially a very cute, chubby rat?
And do they taste good? Is this worth the price?
Những con giá như cao như thế chắc là phải ngon chứ. Để bán được giá cao chứ còn không ngon thì ai mua.
Alright, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Why would anyone buy it if it didn't taste good? Alright, well look, we're gonna go to Hanoi and try some out, but thank you very much for showing me around your farm today. It's been really fascinating. Come on. This is an independent family in the mountains doing their best to make a living from an expensive delicacy protein. And yeah, I think they're doing it the right way, or at least they're doing their best.
I'm headed to Hanoi, the culinary capital of Vietnam and home to some of the most adventurous eaters that I've ever met. I'm meeting up with my friend Leela, a local foodie who knows her way around the city's more exotic offerings. We find ourselves in a Wagyu, a bar cum restaurant, the kind of place that specializes in the North's delicacies, stuff that makes most Westerners run for the hills. And there it is, a bamboo rat. Guys, I feel so bad. This is the cutest little bamboo rat I've ever seen. I swear this must be a baby. It is completely tiny compared to the ones we just saw up in the mountains.
Leela, is it cute?
It's kind of cute, but it's also gross at the same time because it's like the face is cute, but you can't get away from the idea it's still a rat. So mentally a bit challenging.
And I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a twinge of guilt. And let me tell you, tradition is a loaded term here. The chef informs us that bamboo rat is often prepared in the same way as dog meat, a fact that does little to ease my conscience.
I am not gonna lie guys, I think you just knocked that thing out and cooked it like a lobster.
The bamboo rat is pulled from the boiling wok. Its fur then slips off easily with a firm tug. It's quickly then wrapped in a sheet of newspaper and set alight with a blowtorch. The flames scorch the skin and crisp it up nicely. Next comes the cleaning. The organs are carefully removed and the innards are washed clean. A large cleaver is used to separate the backbone and the rib cage. It's surprisingly intricate work for such a large knife. The backbone and rib cage are chopped up into smaller pieces and separated. Next, lemongrass is smashed, releasing a strong and fresh scent. A plate of vegetables and herbs is prepared, including galang, ginger, purple onions, and turmeric. Everything goes into a large pressure cooker with a little oil, some coarse salt, and boiling water. The bamboo rat is added in and the lid is sealed, ready for the cooking to finish. On the side, we fire up a wok. toss in some potatoes, letting them sizzle and soften. The backbone meat, reserved from earlier, is added, along with some purple onions. They're going to cook down together to create a soup to be eaten on the side.
Guys, I feel like this is some serious freaking preparation. I've been getting B-roll for like an hour now. They're cooking the hell out of this thing.
We flatten out some lemongrass, creating a fragrant bed. Then we take a small pineapple, carefully removing the skin and the spines until only the flesh remains. Meanwhile, the wok has been working its magic. The potatoes and backbone meat have mingled with the onion, and it's become a substantial soup. The pressure cooker hisses, signaling that the bamboo rat is ready. It's pulled out, still largely intact, and it's given a quick run through the hot wok with some water, just to get it absolutely piping hot. It's then sliced into small bite-sized pieces. These pieces are then carefully reassembled on the bed of lemongrass and pineapple into the shape of the living rat. The whole thing is added to one of those stainless steel display cases with a gentle fire set underneath, keeping everything warm and ready to be served.
Have you eaten rats before? I don't know that it's technically a rat, but unfortunately I have a lot of rat eating experience. I've got to admit though, usually it is pretty good.
Okay,
But
kind of trust you.
it's as if the rat wasn't intimidating enough. We have to like ratchet things up.
Exactly, that's how we like to do it.
These kind of flavors you would usually eat with dog, right?
Yes.
How much? Like a 1.5 million per kilo?
So it's about $60 USD.
$60 a kilo, right? So, you know, for this same price, we could be eating lobster, king crab, Wagyu beef, anything we want. But instead, we're eating rat that's flavored like dog meat.
Yep.
There you go. That's Vietnam. All right, let's do it.
We start.
So we start with some of this really stinky leaf.
Yep. And then some fresh herb on the side.
I'm gonna double up just for a bit more room.
We have some Thai basil, some perilla, some cilantro.
See, this is why I need professionals on the show like you who know all of these herbs. And look at that. So it's sort of like far more fatty creature than I would have imagined.
Yeah, and it's a lot of dark meat, and the skin look can be like quite tough from my experience.
So let's put this on the leaf. I've tried to wrap as best I can.
It's like the open face tacos.
Okay, ready? Wow, there's a lot of flavors going on there.
Nice and fatty and chewy too.
Right, those herbs really bring a lot of flavor to the dish.
And it's my mind don't even like think that's a rat at all. I just think it's food and something very familiar.
I think maybe we should try some on its own
Right.
because it's kind of hard to get a read on the flavor. It's crazy how fatty these creatures are, especially considering this one was kind of like just the size of a small hamster.
The way that they marinating and stir fries and seasoning bring a lot of flavor out.
Wow, I think it's really good.
It's really good.
All right, should we do another one? And this time we'll go with the mam tom.
Exactly, fermented shrimp paste. I can't wait.
So how would you describe this kind of mam tom flavor to a foreigner?
If someone like fish sauce and this like another level of fish sauce,
Oh yeah, this is definitely another level.
I'm always afraid I'm gonna like it and my mouth gonna be stink. But now I love it. Newly addicted.
All right, so this mam tom is like really thick and creamy.
Give it
It's
a
got some
taste.
chilies in there. Oh, this is really well dipped, trust me. All right,
The fermented shrimp paste is so salty. You almost can't even taste the rat meat anymore.
right.
Yeah, it just takes over all that.
I agree. If anything, that just tastes kind of like Wundao mam tom to me. I think you could have put any meat at all in that wrap and you'd never be able to tell the difference.
And they also using the one is very strong flavor. It's like they not mix it thin. Like bún đậu mắm tôm can be very thin. It's like not too salty like this, and then they can be more sweet and more sour as well. But this one is like almost pure.
Right, this is some of the thickest mam tom that I've ever seen. So let's try some with the sticky rice maybe. I feel like I'm gonna have to use my hands.
Make a little sushi.
Right.
Sushi rat meat, everyone. Very hot.
Oh, I'm going, all right.
Yes.
So true, especially with the sticky rice.
Yeah.
Adds even more of that gelatinous flavor. It goes really well with the fat of the rat. Odd sentence to say.
I would run back very quick because paying $60 for a rat. But actually, like you said, if someone invite me, I join.
I think it'll be more, $60 per kilo. So it's like, I think that rat's gonna be very expensive. So what else do we have? We have one secondary dish here.
So they fillet all the meat and serve on this thing, and the rest of the bone they cook with the taro soup. So taro bamboo rat soup. One thing I love about Vietnamese culture is nothing goes waste. So you have the meat serving this way, and then what else can we do with the bone?
Right.
So that's why they cook the soup. Love bones. Some leftover meat there, and then they garnish with some culantro and green onions.
How are we gonna eat this? Do we have spoons? We're just gonna drink it from the bowl.
To drink it.
All right. Wow. Rat soup.
Yeah.
Who would have thought rat soup would be so good?
No, so comforting.
Right. You know what? Like, I'd much prefer to eat this, I think. Just less of a mental hurdle. All right, try another little bit of that. I think it's taro. I mean, who cares? Everyone knows what a taro place tastes like.
Actually, a yummy rat soup.
Yeah, that is really, really good. Well, that is it for this one, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Lila, where can people find out about you?
You can find me on all social media, especially Instagram and my website at Curious About Vietnam. And then if you want to join my street food tour, you can contact me. I can't afford to sell you bamboo rat, but we can have all kind of Vietnamese, like street food, delicious one.
That's a lie, guys. If you want to eat rat, let her know. She'll make it happen, trust me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.